Hi, everyone. My name is Julie Huck with the Agent of Change platform and the Ed Huck Team with Keller Williams. And I'm here today with my good friend, Suzie Patton. Suzie is actually joining us today. She is one of our sales coaches and productivity coaches on our team. And Suzie's been selling real estate for many years. She has a background in new home construction. She's going to tell you all about her background. And I brought her here today because I respect her at a very high level with what she does in helping agents get productive quickly, in managing schedules, and what it takes to be successful. And I wanted to send a message today, and I'm really serious about this message, that this market is shifting. It is changing. We're all feeling it. I'm having many, many conversations with people, current agents especially, who are struggling, and they are panicking because we're entering June and they don't have a pipeline and they're not hitting the goals that they set for themselves at the beginning of the year, right? Suzie's nodding her head. Yep. All agents, even seasoned agents. It's not just the brand new agents who are feeling this. Every agent that I talk to is really feeling this, and it's setting in right now. And I have had conversations with agents who are really nervous. I mean, they're like, I might have to go get another job. I mean, I can't do this anymore. And so I want to really hit on some of the things, like what it takes to be successful and this business. And I want to tell you guys that there is hope, and we want to help you keep your head in the game, because really at the end of the day, it is about keeping your head in the game. This is all a mindset business. And so Suzie, let me ask you just really quickly, what is your background? What's your experience like? Tell us about yourself.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me, Julie, and for those kind words in your introduction. And I'm excited to be here today. So my background is I've been with Keller Williams and the Ed Huck team for the past 8 years. And prior to that, I spent a couple years in new construction home sales, working for a local builder here. And then for about 10 years prior to that, I was working in mainly banking, and some space of like lending and mortgage and that sort of thing. So altogether, I've been, in mortgage and banking and real estate for almost 2 decades now, which is really hard to believe. And then currently, I would say probably for the last 5 years or so, I've also had the opportunity to be a coach on our team and work with a lot of the newer and seasoned agents to, as you put it, kind of help, keep their head in the game and help them give them the tools and the resources to be successful day in and day out. And especially, during this changing market.
Yes. And so let me ask you, when somebody is new to this business and we're trying to teach them how to be productive quickly, because of course, at the end of the day, whether you're new or not new, the goal is to sell houses quickly, right? So that you can make a living. So what are some of the things what does it take to be successful as you're getting up and running? What does it take to sell houses, even as a seasoned agent? It's a loaded question, I know, but
It's a big question, but really to kind of dumb it down, I guess, is really just to want it bad enough, so you have to be motivated to get up and do this every day. Because even honestly, even if business is really easy, it's an emotional roller coaster that our clients are going through. And, we feel those feels, and that can weigh on us a bit too. So you really have to get up and want to be able to do this and help people every day, and be motivated to get up and do all of the right things. So it is really about managing your day and making that choice between, not looking past, or skipping over the items that you should be doing, to be successful and to really be intentional about how you're going to find business and be able to really help motivated buyers and sellers, make a big move.
Yeah, I mean, and
So,
so the choice you said, manage your day and do the right things. What does that look like?
mhm. Yeah, that's a great question. As I kind of work with some of the agents, it it can get a little confusing when somebody might mistake busyness for being productive. So, it's if you feel like you're working with buyers, mostly buyers, but sometimes sellers, and you're working with them, taking them out to show them houses, writing offers, but not being, able to be competitive. It's easy to mistake that busyness for being productive. So it is really about getting clear about who you're working with,
Mm,
and making sure they are motivated to buy or sell in today's market. And if not, making that decision to, take that time that you might have spent, running buyers around, to take that time to really go out and find the motivated.
And
So
so,
it's just
oh,
really time blocking as
mhm,
well, putting those things in your schedule that you really need to be doing, doing the lead gen, identifying where you want to find your business, and then carving out that time in your day to go get it. And then also just evaluating if you're not getting the results that you're expecting out of these, activities that you're doing. Is it something that you need help on and you
mm,
need to be trained on to do better?
mm.
Or is it maybe something that you need to pivot, and do something differently, to help you generate the business?
Yeah, and that's we have conversations a lot um, with agents on our team, and it's been a really big conversation around, you might be working with buyers, but are they willing to do what it takes to get a house? I mean,
Hmm.
if they're not willing to do what it takes and you keep showing them houses and writing contracts, but they're not even close to being competitive, what good is that, right? So how do
Hmm.
you know you have a highly motivated buyer?
Well, I think it's just asking the right questions. And I think once you, get to a home that they really like or love, it's, it's asking the questions about, what would it look like if you didn't get this house? And, here's the strategies that we're seeing that are working in today's market. And then we keep a very close eye on that. I mean, we talk about that several times a week, and we have a dozen agents that are actively selling. So, we're able to share what's working.
Mhm.
And again, if somebody, isn't willing to go there, and to really rely on our advice on, what's working, in a market, that we're working in every single day, then I think it's just, becomes very clear.
Yeah. And I know we've had these conversations, and some of the agents who are listening right now who have been in different shifting markets, especially the market of the 2008, 2009. Back in that day, it was figuring out what's, highly motivated sellers, because a lot of times back then, sellers weren't able to sell. They had to
Hmm.
either write a check or come to the table. And if they couldn't come to the table with money, then they really couldn't sell their house. And you had to have those conversations with them, which is really hard to do when you're sitting in front of a seller who wants to sell their house and tell them, I'm sorry, this isn't the right time for you and I can't work with you. Now the
Hmm.
tables are turned and it's sitting with buyers and saying, here's what it's going to take to win an offer in the market in which you're looking. And are you willing to do that? Are you financially able to do that? If you're not financially able to do that, I'm sorry, this isn't the right market for you and I can't work with you. And when you're an agent who is kind of concerned about your pipeline and you don't have a lot of business coming up the pipeline, it can be much easier just to keep spinning your wheels and working with them so you look busy.
Hmm.
But what outcome are you going to get?
Hmm.
So what should you be doing instead then, Suzie? Like what are the right things to do in your schedule that you talk about?
Yeah, that's a great question. And what I help agents do is identify what those activities are that, one, they enjoy doing, they're
Mhm.
good at doing, and that they're willing to do. So it's also easy to, you know, constantly wanting to try something new that you think is going to be the magic sauce to get you there. But it really boils down to, getting back to the basics and,
Mm.
picking up the phone, doing the open houses and doing them right. And actually talking about that for a few minutes here with open houses, we're definitely seeing a shift in who's coming to those. And there's a shift in how we used to be able to meet unrepresented buyers. So it is really taking that open house and saying, okay, well, if I don't have control of who shows up, how can I use this as an opportunity to find the motivated buyers out there
And
or
sellers.
sellers?
Yeah.
Yeah, and sellers. So it's about, doing what's in your control to make the most out of the time you're going to spend there. So it is,
Mhm.
doing the door knocking, doing the circle prospecting, and before and after, and really just using that, for every opportunity that it's worth.
Mhm.
So I think that's the difference too. Again, I think it's about choosing um what we don't necessarily have to do or haven't had to do in the last couple years, but what's really going to be a defining moment in whether we're successful in this business, and making the choice to do those extra things that we need to do and do twice as much of it that we needed to do in the past.
Mhm. Mhm. And you say like being, I hear you saying you need to be more intentional around the activities that you're doing. And really, in all of the training that we do in our office, and then also I've been doing a lot of agent of change training. So look for my emails. I want to put the training, I don't want to keep it to just our team. I want other agents out there to experience um, different types of training, because right now we do need to sharpen our skills, but it's becoming intentional, sharpening our skills. We're going from a service-based market to a highly skilled based market. It means we need to know the questions to ask to understand, are they motivated or not? We need to know the dialogue to use at an open house to quickly qualify. We need to have different dialogues. And I know Suzie is the queen of the language of real estate and really understanding how to speak at a high level to qualify clients, to see if she's the right person to help them, to handle objections that clients might have. I think a lot of agents out there who've only been selling for the last couple of years might not even understand some of the objections that are about to come their way. And so in doing so, we need to go and we need to study that, because at the end of the day, there's like 5 or 10 common objections that you're going to hear, and you need to
Hmm.
know how to help people through those questions that they have, right?
Hmm.
So the training, the becoming intentional, that's part of the right things to do, right?
Hmm.
um and what else am I missing, Suzie? You said the things that they like to do, and that, like, what have you seen agents do, for example? Like, I know because you've been doing this a while and you've been helping people get into productivity for a while, and frankly, some people do and some people don't. So what have you seen people do that has been successful, and what are they doing that isn't successful?
Great question. So yeah, and I would say, let's be honest here. I mean, it's most people don't like to lead gen. So whether it's making calls, knocking on doors, doing open houses, calling on businesses, networking. I mean, we are a very personal business, so I know, it people like to get in front of people and have conversations, but a lot of what we do, if we could choose to wake up and do something different, you know, go to the beach or something like that, it's easy to go do that instead. And especially as the weather starts to break, people have a lot of different things they like to do outside. But I would say what I have seen agents do to be successful is, again, getting very clear about what activities they want to focus their time on,
Mm-hmm.
blocking it out in their schedule. And, it could be something as simple as, reaching out to your current database of, your friends and family who love you and support you and want to help you grow in your business, And oh, by the way, either they need to buy or sell, or they know somebody who's going to buy or sell. So also looking at it, from a wider perspective and saying, okay, for every person that I'm talking with, let let's not just look at them as an opportunity that I might be able to help today, but who else do they know? And maybe even making connections with some of those people that and love and support you, that is really that person that knows everybody and is a really great networker. So just kind of identifying those people that you can connect with, that can really help your business grow. And there's really an endless amount of places to find business. So I also hear it a lot of, I don't know who else to call or who to reach out to. So, as part of the onboarding process, we do an activity to just kind of jog people's memory of, let me just open my mind up to all these different places that we can find business, because it's all around us.
Mhm.
It's just identifying where you're going to spend your time and actually doing it. That's the big thing, is doing it. And if it's not in your schedule, it doesn't exist. So even if you say, I'm going to do this today, but you don't put it in there, I can bet, 99% of the time that it's not going to get done.
Mhm.
I'll get to that
Because
tomorrow.
well, what gets in the way usually? It's
Well, it's
current.
it's usually if you've got business going on, it's current business that can get in the way, or it's a
Mhm.
beautiful day. I'm going to go for a bike ride, a walk. I'm going to go play some golf. Again, there's decisions that we have to make every day, to really, commit to what we want to get done and actually doing it. And
Mhm.
if you've got the rest of the afternoon off, great. But if you actually got in what you said you were going to do, you're going to feel a lot better, heading out that afternoon,
Mhm.
enjoying it, with whatever you're going to do if you did what you needed to.
What are your secrets to stay consistent? Because I will say you are the epitome of consistency and knowing what you need to do, getting it done, and managing your schedule at a high level. And that's what's kept you successful year after year without a lot of peaks and valleys in your business. I mean, even when you were pregnant and having a baby, you still sold. Suzie said, okay, I'm having a baby in what month was it?
June 5th. Yeah.
June.
Uh,
So I have to sell X number of homes. How many houses did you have to sell before the baby? Like 24 or something?
yeah, I sold 20.
So she knew I need to get all my production in before I have a baby so that I can then take the next couple months off. But that's called being intentional and knowing how you're running your business at a high level. And we are all running our own business. And it's the question is, are you going to run it at a high level or are you not? So what is your secret, Suzie? What do you do? How do you stay that consistent? And how are you that intentional?
Yeah. Well, again, I think it's just getting very clear about where you want to find your business, putting it in your schedule. And, a couple easy practices I have is, you know, creating kind of a set schedule. I call it my ideal schedule. So I have a layer in my calendar that says, okay, here's all of the things that are easy to not do, but I need to choose to do every single week. So I have an intentional schedule or an ideal schedule in my calendar every week.
Mhm.
And if I don't get to those, because let's say I do have an appointment, I
Mhm.
know that if I need to move that activity that I scheduled, then it's already on there. So it's more likely to get done if I need to move it to a different time. If not, it's on there and I'm going to do it when I say I'm going to. So
Mhm.
that's just one thing, is just, again, putting it on your schedule and making sure it's there. So I plan out my week every Sunday, and then every evening after I put my son to bed, I go back to my schedule and say, okay, what does my day look like tomorrow? What do I need to move around? What's not in there that should? Um, and and again, just making sure everything that I need to is in there for the next day. So it's planning out my week every Sunday, and then reevaluating it every day to make sure I'm doing the right things.
Yeah. It's really about managing a schedule, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. And so how do you help coach agents who are a little bit stuck? They're just like not getting the results that they want. They're kind of spinning their wheels and they're getting frustrated and maybe a little bit in their head, right? Because sometimes that's usually what happens. How do you help coach agents who are kind of in that position? Because I have a feeling there might be a lot of agents out there right now who are feeling like, I just don't know what to do and I'm really stuck.
Yeah. Well, I think it's two things. Is one, looking at what you have been doing and evaluating what's working and what's not. Is it something that's not working and you need to pivot and do something different? Or is it something that could be working if you had a little more training around it, or, a different way to do it? So
Mm-hmm.
it's looking at what you have been doing and, seeing if you need to pivot from there. And
Mm-hmm.
then again, coming up with a plan of, okay, what can I do differently going forward to
Mm-hmm.
get different results? And I also think it's important because, as much as we want our business to be consistent every single month and not have those peaks and valleys,
Mm-hmm.
we really are looking to, kind of even out those peaks and valleys. I mean, there's always, our business is always cyclical.
Mm-hmm.
So it is also just about celebrating some successes that you did have and say, okay, maybe if you've been down for a couple months, okay, well, what was working 3 months ago when you had all of that success? Let's go back to that. Let's really celebrate what you accomplished,
Mm-hmm.
and then let's evaluate and say, okay, what aren't haven't you been doing the last couple months that maybe we should get back to doing?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
then
because
I
you,
would
oh,
say,
go ahead.
I was also going to share too, just, with our team, part of my role is to host these, script calls Tuesdays and Thursdays. So we spend about, 30 minutes going over common scripts that we're seeing today. They're going to help these agents,
Mm-hmm.
overcome some of these common objections. So I personally wish I had something like that when I got started in the business, because I think it would have helped me get even up and running even faster. And
Mm-hmm.
then also, that time is to get agents in the habit of carving out time, twice a week to be working on their business, their future business. So finding new opportunities and nurturing, others that have raised their hand and said they're looking to buy or sell in the future.
Right. I mean, and that's absolutely 100% spot on. And sometimes, you know, you do need someone to help you with that. Sometimes you just need to have a conversation with somebody who's not yourself, um, to kind of walk you through that, And I know Susie on our team, she meets with our agents once a week, and they just kind of talk about like what worked last week, what am I going to do this week? And doing that on a weekly basis is so much more powerful than just doing it at the beginning of the year and then seeing how the year plays out, right? And what I heard Susie say is she kind of does that almost every day because she does her week plan, but then every day she's like, okay, now where am I at in my week and what do I need to do tomorrow? And let me tell you, Susie does not just work all day, all night, every day. She has a lot of fun too. And she has a little boy and she has a husband and they love to travel and they have, property in Pennsylvania and you're putting your cabin there and she likes to go spend her weekends. So having things, and maybe you can speak to this a little bit about what are you doing this for, right? Because that's, I think when we lose focus, that's where we need to go back. What are we doing this for? What is our motivation? Can you talk on that just for a second about what keeps you motivated and why you're doing what you're doing?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it boils down to I love helping people make a big financial decision, and it's something I don't take lightly. So that is the real reason.
Mm-hmm.
And, I do this, to, make a living, to support my family. And it really has funded a lot of things in my life that, might not have been possible if I, stayed down the path of banking.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been really wonderful there, and having goals and creating vision boards, and those things are coming to life is pretty amazing. So that's that. And then I would say, something that really does keep me motivated is certainly having my son now, because I know everything that I'm not doing when during the times that I set aside to get my work done, it's something I'm going to have to do later, which is going to take away from him. So I think it also, just over the last couple of years, helped me become very intentional about what I'm
Mhm.
doing, um, during the time I'm supposed to be working, because I don't want it to take away from him. So every time I say yes, I'm saying no to him. So
Mm,
I've got to really make that time, you know, that I'm using spent well.
mm.
I'm very intentional.
Absolutely. Because if you consistently say no to the things that you love and you want to do, then you do wake up and say, what am I doing this for? And I'm
Mhm,
getting nowhere and I'm not making any money and I'm spinning my wheels and I just might as well go get a job. Right.
mhm,
And I really, I feel for agents who are in that place right now. I really feel for you. And I know how difficult this business can be. I mean, real estate has, very high rewards, right? You can live an amazing life. You can, what you put in, you get out. There's so much opportunity and it's very rewarding because like Suzie said, we're here to help people. We get to guide them through one of their biggest financial decisions they make. It's very emotional. It's very relational. And that's usually why most people get into this business is for that.
mhm,
And if you don't find the people that you're going to help, you don't get to do any of the good stuff. Right. And
mhm,
usually when I'm talking to agents who are talking to me or people who are looking to get in the business, they will ask, I'll ask them, why do you want to be a real estate agent? What makes you want to get into this business? And
mhm.
Suzie, what do you think is the first thing that they say?
Flexible schedule,
Okay, yes. And then what is the second thing that they say?
that I want to help people.
Yeah. I want a flexible schedule and I want to help people. And sometimes the third thing they say is I really like houses.
Mhm,
And I get that because I really think that's what those are the beautiful things that come out of this business, right? A
mhm,
flexible schedule, you get to help people and you get to see a lot of cool houses and help people move into their dream house, right? And so what happens is if you're not fully prepared to run your own business, because we are all entrepreneurs and business owners, if you're not fully prepared to realize if you don't have a customer, you don't have a business, and thus you don't have profits, you don't get to do all of the fun things and it becomes really disheartening.
mhm,
And the activities, the lead gen activities that we get to do at the end of the day are all the things that we love to do. It's talking to people, it's educating people, it's sharing what the market is doing, it's inviting them to workshops,
mhm,
it's throwing events, it's networking, it's talking at your ball games, it's wearing logo wear. I mean, all of that stuff. Those are the activities that we're doing and we're very intentional about doing. So it's also a mindset shift. This isn't hard. This isn't rocket science. It
mhm,
just means you have to manage your schedule and you need to do the things that are the most productive that will in turn help you to help people and then make a living, right?
mhm. Yep.
So if somebody is what do you think about if someone's like stuck and they're like, well, I just need to get a part-time job? What do you say to that?
Well, I think you go back to, what motivates you to stay in this business,
Mm-hmm.
and then evaluate if you're willing to do what it takes to be successful. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, we might have some temporary pain that we're
Mm-hmm.
heading into with, just with the shifting market, and it's going to be better on the other side,
Mm-hmm.
and I think if we just get back to the basics, manage your time wisely,
Mm-hmm.
you know, put in some more work, you
Mm-hmm.
know, we're all going to be fine. And
Absolutely.
it's just a matter of if we want to stick it out and we want to put in the time and the work and do the right things.
Well, I mean, it's true. There are going to be the people who are going to do the work are going to be great. They're going to get their unfair share. There's still people buying and selling houses. Homes are
Mhm,
still being listed. Homes are still selling. It's just a matter of who's who's going to be the first person to get in front of them. And I think we all have gotten really used to just easily getting the business. And
Mhm.
I'm not going to lie. I mean, I feel that I'm like, oh, great. Now we got to get buckled down, put in, a little bit more time, be more intentional and do the things. And if you just accept that and you sit with it and you realize it and you enjoy it and you maybe do some more training, get around people who are doing the same thing. I mean, that's a
Mhm.
whole nother thing, is just surround yourself with people who are like, yeah, I'm excited about this market. I'm going to go find the business. I'm going to do the lead gen. I'm going to make the calls. I'm going to sell the houses. I'm not going to sit and complain and worry and cry and moan about what's about to happen. I'm going to come out on the other side ahead of everybody else. And so there are two types of people in this business, right? And we get
Mhm.
to choose. And at the end of the day, if you're like, no way, I don't want to do that. I don't want to put in the work. I don't want to pick up the phone. I don't want to have 20 to 30 conversations a day. I don't want to track my numbers. I don't want to manage a schedule. I just kind of just want to chill. Then yeah, maybe you should go find another job, right? And that's okay. It's your choice. Um, but this business is worth it, right? It's
Mhm.
really worth it. And it just takes a little bit of coaching and motivation. So,
Yep.
is there any last things you'd like to share, Suzie? Any, hope and inspiration and mindset, anything that can help our folks right now, as we're kind of changing our mind?
Yeah, I mean, I would also say that, just like as we're getting in front of our clients and helping provide perspective on what's really happening in our local market, I think it's easy for us to get, wrapped up in, as an agent and hearing, what you're hearing on the news about what kind of market we're in. So, yes, it's changing. And with that, there's also people that are still buying and selling like they're going to do every day from now and going forward and how they have always done in the past. So
Mhm,
the business is out there. We just have to want to be able to get in front of the people who are really motivated to buy or sell now.
mhm.
And we're all going to do just fine. And it's like you said, it's not
Yeah.
rocket science. It's just very basic things that we have to do to get in front of the people, and we have to want to do it, and we're going to do well.
Awesome. And if anybody, I believe in all of you, because there's a reason you got in the business in the first place. And I really believe that you all are fully capable of doing what it takes to be successful. If anybody needs to have a conversation, if anybody wants to just have, a coaching moment of just help me figure out how to get my head back in the game and come up with a game plan, um, we would be happy to chat with you. I know I'm going to put in here a link to my calendar, and I'm certain that between Suzie and I, we will be happy to help you, because we want you to succeed, right? Um, we want
Absolutely.
you to really live out your life by design, not by default. We want you to be in control of your own destiny and in control of how much money you can do or don't make, right? So I will put that information in the show notes, or the notes on the bottom. And I am so thankful for you, Suzie. You're an
Thanks for
amazing
having me.
coach and an amazing partner to be in business with. So keep up the
You
great
too,
work.
Julie. Thank
All
you.
right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.